During Ball State's success this season, there is one individual who goes unnoticed by many: student manager Devon Eley.
There are some words that really describe who I am and have certain meaning to who I am, but there are other words that have no effect on me. Three words that I live by every day is compete, give, and inspire. I came from a small town called Pittsburgh, Ohio. Really small town, really close-knit community. No matter if it was academically or if it was in sports, everything had a meaning to it because people around you, they genuinely cared about you and your well-being.
It was a good community, very loving, very supportive of Devon. Everybody let him try everything and included him in everything.
I have a support system in my family, and I have a support system in my friends that they lift me up, and in my community as well. They lift me up, and they're my crutch. To where if I fall, they're gonna help pick me back up. They're not gonna let me fall.
Devon has spina bifida occulta. They took us down to Children's and they diagnosed him down there 3 days after he was born. There was a cord wrapped around his spinal cord. A tethered cord is what they call it, and it was restricting the nerves to go where they needed to go. All of that happened while pregnancy. It was very hard, first-time mother.
I remember I want to say it was a full-length cast, a body-length cast, came up to about my chest. And I remember saying, I want to be up, I want to be doing something. I remember coming home and saying, hey, I want to play baseball, I want to go out there. We needed to find an easier way and make an adaptation to where I could play.
We had a couple. That was his coach, Mike and Carrie Fitzhands, and they took an old crutch of his and welded it and put a T-ball bat on one end and basically made it into a crutch bat. And he would hit, swing with one hand, and then put it down and run.
My parents were just thinking how he's gonna hit it and then go get his crutches and go run to first base. And my grandpa had the idea to make a contraption.
Really, it was until about the time I got to about 5th grade. And that's when I slowly had to stop playing. And at the time I was kind of looking like, okay, what am I gonna do? And that's when I became an ambassador for Children's.
My name is Devon Eley. I live in Arcan. Last year I was chosen to be one of the ambassadors of Dayton Children's Medical Center. I feel very honored that I was chosen to represent all of the kids at all of the children's hospitals in Ohio. Thank you so much, Children's Miracle Network.
Being selected, it gave me a chance to see so many people who were worse off than I was. I knew what I had and I knew what I was going through, but seeing what other people were going through and seeing the impact they could make on my life was just really eye-opening, I would say. I always had a love for sports, and it was like, well, I'm away from sports right now, and I just don't like that. So kind of going through my 6th grade year, I kept having one of my best friends, Travis, he kept coming up to me saying, Dev, come manage for us. I remember sitting with my grandpa at supper one night, and he told me a story about how he had been a manager in high school, and he said it was some of the greatest times of his life. I look back, and that's when my life really changed. Start managing basketball and never look back.
It was Arcanum and FM, and it's a big rival, but a good rival. They're two wonderful communities that came together in several instances for Devon throughout his life, and was very thankful that it was that game.
I remember kind of going in, normal game day stuff, I got my shirt and tie on, I'm dressed up. I always say shirt and tie, that's dressed for success, we're ready to go. I remember Coach kind of coming into the door at the gym and going, hey Dev, he goes, come here real quick, we need to talk to you. He takes me back in, we go into the locker room, and I remember looking up and I see 52 hanging on one of the lockers. He goes, what's your thoughts on getting in tonight's game? And I remember my first thought going, man, like you're joking, like this is something I've dreamed about, like, no, I'm not gonna really think this is actually happening.
Just before the game, our pregame talk, Coach Myers told us that he was going to be dressing, and if the time came, he could get in.
Coach is drawing up something, and I'm kind of just looking around, wandering my eyes around, just taking it all in. And Coach looks and goes, "So, Dev, you know what you're doing?" I was like, "What? Wait, what are we doing?" And he kind of went back through, and he's like, "You get the shot." As I'm walking out on the court, the standing ovation, it just made me realize what I've done to this point has impacted so many people.
2 teams to help him walk, and he is wearing a uniform tonight in the number 52. And he checked into the ball game. SM with the basketball. They're going to get to Eley on the block.
Missing the first shot and hearing everybody kind of going,
Oh no, but keep trying, I guess, and he got another chance.
Rebound, Franklin Rowe. Eley second.
I knew right away. As soon as I looked at Coach Myers in the eye, I was like, I got to give this guy a hug. And I remember kind of tearing up in that moment. I had been dreaming about that moment for more or less since I started managing basketball.
The green ball goes to number 52.
It overcame every aspect of what I dreamed of.
Devon inspires a lot of people around this community. He is my biggest hero. He's gone through a lot, and he doesn't show anything for it. I mean, he works hard.
With being a manager in college, it was kind of one of those that started coming late my senior year. I had called to the basketball office here the summer going into my freshman year. I kind of more or less said, I have an interest in managing basketball. I want to be around the game. I've been around the game for so long, and it means so much to me that I don't want to be away from it. My ultimate goal is I want to coach. I have such a passion for the game. Learning from a great coaching staff, it's an opportunity looking back a couple years ago I never thought I'd have. The hardest part of having spina bifida for me has been realizing there's some things that I don't have the ability to do. When people say, "Oh, well, you have a handicap," no, I'm handy capable. I can do things. I can just do things in a different way than you do them. Basketball means a lot to me because it's given me a chance. Whenever I pick up a basketball, I just look at it and I always say, like, this is just a breed of life. It really is. It's what I am today. It's what I'm going to be in the future. It's just what I love.